I don't always feel heard. I speak, and he responds, but not in ways that settle me. His answers feel careful, clipped, as if he's already somewhere else. When I finish a sentence, there is a pause, just long enough to make me wonder if I said too much, or too little, or something wrong. I have learned to fear pauses. I study him more than I should. I watch how he moves through the room, how he avoids eye contact when I'm changing, how his hands stay busy with his phone or the television or anything that keeps them from resting on me. I notice when he no longer touches me in passing, no longer kisses me without intention, no longer looks at me as if he's seeing me for the first time all over again. These are small things, insignificant things maybe, but small things used to be everything. Silence leaves space, and my insecurities rush in to fill it. I start interpreting glances, dissecting tone, counting the seconds between affection. I replay moments in my head late at night, wondering if I imagined closeness that was never there, or distance that doesn't exist. Silence makes me doubt my instincts and distrust my feelings. I ask him if something is wrong, he says no. I ask if he's okay, he says yes. I ask if he's tired, he nods. The conversation ends there, always there, and I'm left holding questions I no longer know how to ask without sounding needy, dramatic, or ungrateful. I begin to censor myself. I soften my voice. I minimize my needs. I convince myself that wanting reassurance makes me weak, that asking to be desired makes me selfish. Silence teaches you how to disappear politely. At night, it's worse. The bed that once felt like a place of closeness now feels like a border. Our bodies lie near each other, but they don't speak anymore. I wait for him to reach for me, pretending not to care while my chest tightens with every second that passes. When he doesn't, I tell myself I shouldn't be surprised. I turn my back, afraid that facing him will expose how unwanted I feel. I wonder if he notices how tense I've become, how I hold my breath when he moves, how I flinch when he touches me unexpectedly, not because I don't want him, but because I'm afraid that touch won't mean what it used to. I'm afraid it will feel empty, or worse, obligatory. Silence makes me feel replaceable. It whispers that my body, changed by pregnancy and time, no longer inspires him, that what once came naturally now requires effort he may not want to give. I imagine him remembering the woman I was, lighter, firmer, more confident, and I ache with the fear that I'm only a reminder of what has been lost. I hate how silence turns love into a guessing game. I hate how it makes me feel alone while still married, abandoned without being left. This kind of abandonment leaves no proof. There's no fight to point to, no harsh words, just absence, quiet, persistent, devastating. Sometimes I think the silence protects him. As long as he doesn't speak, he doesn't have to hurt me. But it doesn't protect me. It leaves me trapped in uncertainty, carrying all the emotional weight by myself. It makes me feel like my pain doesn't count unless it's loud enough to interrupt the calm. But I'm tired of being calm. I'm tired of swallowing words and calling it maturity. I'm tired of pretending silence is peace when it feels like erasure. Because love should speak, even softly. Desire should show itself, even gently. And when silence replaces both, it doesn't feel neutral. It feels like being slowly left behind. This is the silence between us, the one that doesn't shout or accuse, but slowly convinces me that I am no longer wanted in the ways that matter most. And each day I live inside it, I feel myself shrinking, wondering how long a woman can endure quiet rejection before she begins to believe she deserves it. I see them everywhere. Young women who walk into a room and seem to take it with them. Their laughter light, their skin taut and unmarked, their bodies untouched by the weight of life. I watch them move with a confidence I once had, a freedom I once claimed without thought, and I wonder, does he see them too? I catch myself scanning their shapes, their smiles, their effortless charm, and my chest tightens. I don't mean to measure myself against them, yet it happens automatically. Every stretch mark, every sagging curve, every line on my face feels magnified in contrast. My body has lived and carried life, theirs hasn't, and in that truth lies the cruel comparison I cannot escape. I notice how he sometimes glances when we're out, subtle, brief, easily dismissed, but my mind seizes it, dissecting it, replaying it in endless loops. Was that look admiration or something I no longer can claim for myself? My insecurities rush forward, whispering that I am fading, that my youth and beauty have a time limit, and that time has passed. I begin to feel like I'm running a race I never signed up for, a race against time, against bodies that remain untouched by childbirth, against skin that doesn't sag, against thighs that don't remember late nights of feeding and sleepless worry. I didn't know I was competing, but every glance I imagine from him makes me feel like I am. I remember when I didn't think about this, when love felt effortless and desire seemed natural. I didn't measure myself against anyone else because I didn't need to. I felt wanted simply for being me. Now, every reflection in a store window, every smiling woman passing by, every glimpse of someone younger triggers panic in my chest. I am hyper aware of what has changed, what I've lost, and what he might see in them that he no longer sees in me. Even when he touches me or smiles at me, part of me waits, expecting it to feel forced, obligatory, like he's only staying because he has to, not because he wants to. I question everything. Did he fall in love with her version of me, the one before pregnancies, before fatigue, before my body became a map of sacrifice? Or does he still love this me, the woman who has given everything and is left uncertain if it's enough? I hate the way this comparison poisons my thoughts. I hate how it makes me feel smaller in my own home. I hate that my fear of losing him to someone younger, tighter, untouched can overshadow the life we've built together, the children we've raised, the love we've shared. But fear is insistent and insecurity is loud. Sometimes I imagine confronting him, asking him if he still desires me, if he still sees me as a woman worth choosing, even now. But the thought terrifies me. What if my suspicions are true? What if love, desire, intimacy, they all belonged to the younger version of myself, and now I am merely tolerated? And so I continue to compare silently, endlessly, painfully. My own body becomes both my armor and my prison, a reminder of all I've given and all I fear I've lost. I see them everywhere, and in seeing them, I see my own reflection, not in mirrors, but in the space between longing and rejection. Because sometimes the most intimate betrayal isn't action, it's absence. And every younger woman I pass reminds me, in the quietest, cruelest way, that I am fighting for something I fear may already be slipping away. I notice them everywhere. On the street, in cafes, at work, in the supermarket, women with skin that glows as if untouched by life's weight, women who laugh without hesitation, women whose bodies move freely without evidence of bearing children. Their presence makes me shrink in subtle, painful ways. I feel the contrast between me and them acutely, like a mirror that refuses to lie. Every sagging curve, every stretch mark, every softened line of my body suddenly feels magnified, as if the world is marking me as different, less desirable, less wanted, less whole. It's not that I want to compare. I hate that I do, but insecurity doesn't ask permission. It creeps in idle moments, in the corner of a shop, in the glance of a man walking past, and then it comes crashing in. What if he sees them the way I used to be seen? I notice subtle things in him now, small glances I might have ignored in the past, a momentary pause, a slightly prolonged stare, a smile he doesn't direct at me. My mind seizes these moments, replaying them again and again, turning speculation into fear. I imagine him imagining her, her tighter skin, her youth, her carefree movements, her body untouched by the demands of life and motherhood. And suddenly I feel like I am invisible in my marriage, fading into the background of memories and what once was. The comparison is relentless. I measure myself against bodies that never carried life, against laughter that never masked exhaustion, against forms that never knew the weight of sacrifice. I didn't sign up for this race, yet every day it seems I am competing, whether I want to or not. It's a silent, exhausting contest, desire against desire, beauty against youth, the proof of what I have given against the ease of what they were born with. I remember when I didn't think about these things. When we first met, his eyes told me I was enough. His touch reminded me I was desired. Love felt effortless, unburdened by comparison. But time and pregnancy changed all that. Each child reshaped my body, and with each change, I began to question whether he still loved the woman who now lives in these softer, scarred, tired curves. I begin to fear that the man who once looked at me with raw desire now looks at me with polite affection, if at all. Sometimes, in moments when he reaches for me, touches me briefly, or smiles my way, I wait for a confirmation that may never come. I want to feel chosen, wanted, desirable. Instead, I am hyper aware of the comparison my mind is making between me and the younger, firmer, untarnished women I see every day. And in this awareness, a creeping sense of inadequacy takes root. I start to imagine that somewhere in his mind, my body is measured against theirs, and in that comparison, I inevitably come up short. I hate the jealousy I feel, but I cannot help it. I hate how it poisons moments that should be safe, when he touches me, when he smiles, when we share a quiet evening together. The fear lurks beneath every glance, every pause, every unspoken thought. Would he prefer her? Would he choose her over me if given the chance? And the cruelest part is that I don't have proof. He hasn't left. He hasn't abandoned me outright. But silence, absence, and subtle distance speak louder than any words ever could. The younger women I see every day with their perfect, unscarred bodies and effortless confidence become mirrors for my deepest insecurities. In their presence, I feel diminished. In his absence of longing, I feel rejected. I compare silently. I measure my worth in quiet, painful ways. I feel my beauty slipping away with every glance at someone else, every reflection in a mirror that refuses to flatter me. And yet, I cannot stop, because deep down, I am afraid that if I stop noticing, if I stop fearing, I might finally have to face the truth I dread most, that the man I love may have already stopped seeing me as a woman and begun seeing only what I've lost. Every day, every moment, I feel this quiet battle raging inside me, the tension between what I've given, what I am, and what I fear I am no longer enough for. And it is exhausting, it is relentless, it is lonely. I don't just see younger women. I see a version of me that I fear he might still long for, the woman I was before motherhood, before scars, before stretch marks, before exhaustion. And each day I survive in this body, in this marriage, I wrestle with the question I cannot voice aloud. Am I enough? Or am I already being silently replaced in his desire by someone who hasn't yet carried life in her bones? This comparison is more than vanity. It is survival, a desperate, quiet attempt to claim my place in his eyes, in his heart, in the desire that once felt effortless and now feels uncertain, conditional, and painfully fragile. Being naked used to feel natural. It was warmth, closeness, trust, a conversation without words. Now it feels like a vulnerability I cannot bear. My own skin feels foreign to me, marked and softened in ways I did not anticipate, and every curve, every line, every scar reminds me of life I carried, and the desire I fear has been lost. When he reaches for me now, I flinch. It isn't anger, it isn't resentment, it's fear. Fear that he's only touching me out of obligation. Fear that his desire no longer belongs to me, but to a memory of who I once was. I tense at every caress, questioning whether he is truly present or merely going through the motions. I wonder if he sees my body the way I see it, changed, imperfect, too tired to be what it once was. I remember the first time after my second pregnancy that I felt this divide. I had worked so hard to recover, to feel like myself again, but the mirror told me another story. My belly was softer, my thighs carried traces of sleepless nights, my breasts no longer held the same shape, and when he touched me that night, a familiar hesitation lingered in his hand, a slight pause that shouldn't have mattered, but it did. It confirmed what I feared most, that my body was no longer enough. Intimacy without confidence is like trying to speak when your voice has been stolen. I want closeness, yet I guard myself. I crave reassurance, yet I fear asking for it. I lie beside him, a ghost of the woman I once was, longing for his desire while anticipating its absence. Each touch becomes a question. Does he still want me, or is he pretending? Each glance becomes a trial. Is he truly seeing me, or is his attention elsewhere, on something or someone else? I remember nights when I avoided undressing until the room was dark, pretending sleepiness was the reason. I remember turning away in bed, covering myself with blankets, wishing I could hide the evidence of all that life had done to me. I felt ashamed of my softness, my scars, the parts of me that told a story I could no longer claim as beautiful. I wasn't angry at him, I was angry at myself, for fearing rejection, for needing to be desired, for imagining that love could falter over skin. I ache for the desire we once had, the effortless closeness that didn't require negotiation or courage. I ache for the touch that once made me feel seen, valued, chosen. But instead, I lie in quiet terror, counting the spaces between his words, his touches, his attention. I measure each pause as if it were proof, proof that I am no longer enough, proof that he may love me but no longer want me. Intimacy has become a minefield. I avoid it because I am afraid, and I am afraid because I have learned to notice absence more than presence. I flinch at affection because my body has become a test, one I feel I fail every time I reveal it. I crave connection, yet anticipate rejection, and the emotional tension leaves me exhausted. And the cruelest part is that he has never rejected me outright. He stays, he loves, he touches, but his presence feels cautious, measured, polite. Not hungry, not desperate, not unhesitating. It is love without desire, affection without passion, and I feel abandoned in that. Being naked is no longer about closeness. It is exposure. It is vulnerability with no promise of acceptance. Every curve, every softness, every imperfection becomes evidence that I may have been left behind in a body that has given everything, sacrificed everything, yet wonders if it is still enough to inspire desire. I lie there, trembling slightly, carrying the weight of every pregnancy, every scar, every lost inch of firmness, and I ask the question I dare not voice aloud. Does he still see me as a woman,